Hi, I'm Ellen Wanjiru with blackfilm.com. Hi, Marlon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well. I've been looking forward to having this conversation. It was so good to watch you in a dramatic leading role. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you played Aretha's first husband, Ted White. First question that came to my mind is what were your thoughts when you first got the script, and what was your intent? What did you want to bring across screen?
I thought the um, material was written well. It picked the best parts of, like, to me, Aretha's legacy, which was the hardest parts of her legacy. The things that she struggled with the most. The more, I think the dynamic between Aretha, CL, her father, and Ted reminded me of, like, every father that tells his daughter, don't date that dude.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. And then they trust him over their dad. And then they find out the hard way why your father was telling you no. Um, but what's great about the role for me is I didn't read a bad guy. I read a damaged person, somebody whose intentions may be good, but they are just have bad tendencies. And because insecurity and jealousy can make anybody, those are such toxic emotions to carry with you. And his intention was to really make her big and to love her and to take care of her. But sometimes you just get in your own damn way and you can't help it. And I wanted to not play the bad guy. I wanted to play a damaged person, somebody that has vulnerability, somebody that you go has feelings, and a character has texture. But yeah, he can go to dark places. But I wanted people to walk away from this movie feeling like Ted and Aretha's love was something that they wanted to work. They want it to work. There's beauty in it. Look at that black love, how beautiful it is and amazing. And then slowly watch this relationship deteriorate to the point where it's like, girl, you got to go. You got to go. I know that one time you let him in and you let him back in. I get it. Yeah, that might have been a mistake. I'll give him that. But that next time you got to go. And when she leaves, I wanted people to feel, especially women, to feel empowered by her leaving. We know it's hard, but you can't stay there.
And that's what made it so relatable on so many levels. What I enjoyed most about your portrayal was your ability to humanize Ted, right? To your point, yes, he was troubled, but there were these moments when the quote unquote demons settled, and we got to see a side of Ted that was extremely vulnerable.
Mhm.
What was going on in Ted's mind in those moments, would you say?
I think he was in a place of, I think, of complete vulnerability. I think even though he had some prior pimping, I think at a point, he actually wound up falling in love
Right.
because he seen what was great about her, and he took his best him and poured it into her until he didn't have no more, till she outgrew him. She took all that and she became this beanstalk, and he couldn't control it. And it goes back to jealousy and insecurity, and not just you gonna listen to me. It's not a pimp with the hand. It's the pimp who fell in love with one of the girls in
Mm,
his that he was tricking, and became the trick. You know what I mean? It's like I was reading the book Pimp while I was, um, for Ted's character, not because of him being a pimp, but because I wanted to read why somebody becomes a pimp,
mm,
and it's usually mommy issues.
right.
And I wanted to see what was the damage to drive a man to do that. And it usually comes from a very vulnerable place. And they're acting out because at the end of the day, he's just a little boy crying.
Mm.
And that's the stuff that when we can, as people, look and go, oh, that's why they're damaged. It gives you some empathy for whatever character, because you go, I don't agree with what he did, but I understand he
Right.
hurt.
And as difficult as it is to say you understand, you kind of have to
Yes.
through his actions. And again, I think that's what you excelled in, just showing those vulnerable moments and that damage, which made it incredibly relatable. So one scene that stood out to me that made me think of Humphrey Bogart was when Ted and Aretha were standing in front of that brownstone. They just met for the second time at the party, and you had on the coat with the collar up and the hat. It was giving me Bogart vibes for days, and I loved that. Was that intentional, or did you take artistic liberty?
I think it was an artistic liberty, and it was just the way the walk came out. It's the way Liesel shot it. I think it was, um, I think it was also the romance. You know what I mean? So it's very rare we actually get to see us in a romantic way in a classic movie. We're both dressed well, you know, from that era. It's very rare, and it's beautiful to see. And that's why before we show the toxic love, no, let's take a beat and show two people falling in love, two people just falling in love like little like kids, you know, and him singing, her singing for him, and you know that was him trying to be pimp, but that's the moment he fell, you know, he fell in love, you know, on that stroll because he seen the beauty in her and the great in her, and it just became more, and you know, so it wasn't I was trying to do that, but I think that just naturally came out. Plus, I think the way Ted talked and his pentameter, you know, back then they those people of that era, especially black people, was making it a point to sound articulate at the time because they didn't want to be seen as though they were ignorant to white folks. So that's why he always had a stutter before, because he's trying to find the words to feel articulate, and so some of the voice sounded a little Bogarty, I guess, but that wasn't the intention.
I now want to see you in a detective movie, giving off that same vibe.
Maybe.
Right?
But that's why I like Ted, because he was dangerous. He was sexy, romantic, and twisted, and insecure, and at the end of the day, vulnerable, and that's why I really love the character, because I've seen the layers.
And speaking of chemistry, I mean, the chemistry between you and Jennifer Hudson was it was intense. It was obvious. And she saw the same things he saw in her, the beauty and the greatness. And that's what created the love. Can you talk a bit about the chemistry off screen that informed the on-screen chemistry?
I mean, when we was on set, my whole thing was, because I know the hard work. If my role was hard, the work Jennifer was doing was 10 times harder. Like, she would have to perform all day, dance numbers, singing all day, live, all day long, live. This woman wasn't, you know, voice. No, she was singing live, playing piano. Like, she was just, and then afterwards, sometimes go to the studio. She was working her behind off. So my whole thing as Marlon was take care of Jennifer. What does she need? Whether it was grab her some snack. Did you eat, girl? Did you eat? No, you haven't eaten. Here, I got you a salad. Eat your salad. I don't feel like eat your salad. Here, you want? I got some like sugar, some sweets, here's some chocolate. You know, you've been working hard all week. I set you up a massage at Four Seasons. Like, I would make it a point as her co-star on male, romantic lead, to take care of her so that she felt safe as Jennifer. And then we just had a great budding friendship, and it became a trust on screen. And so a lot of the stuff that was on screen was easy for us because there was such a trust.
Wow.
And she's she's a great woman. My mama passed, and she came and sang at my mama's funeral, and that, she got a friend for life. My mama got up and like, did that Jennifer Hudson? Oh, I can die now. So, I mean, that But that's just the beautiful woman that she is, and that's the friendship that we nurtured.
Wow.
And
What was
I'm
your,
glad it shows on screen.
it does. Oh, it came across beautifully.
And I always was a fan of like Lady Sings the Blues, Sparkle, like those, when we did Beautiful Black Love back in the day, when we go back and we do it from a certain era, like Lady Sings the Blues, Mahogany, it's just a man that loves a woman. And the best part of Ted, I wanted women to see a man that just loves a woman, and then see the Lawrence Fishburne in them come out. Didn't see the Ike Turner come out.
Right.
But that's the difference, I think, with this and Tina's Turner story is, in that one, it was just splat all the way through. Not to say it didn't have levels, but I just saw an opportunity here for us to really embrace the love of this relationship before we get to the damage.
And that's synonymous with the duality of love, right? The good and evil of it. And when you guys first met, when Ted and Aretha first meet and they lock eyes, I mean, you see that connection instantly, and just through that quick connection, you could almost see everything that's about to happen, right? The good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly of it. So to your point, yeah, that was amazing. What was your favorite scene from the movie?
Of mine? I don't know. I think it was really hard. I would
Maybe
say,
not of viewers specific, or maybe of viewers, but also in the movie in its entirety.
I love the scene where Ted comes over for a Sunday dinner and CL sees him and pulls out the gun. I was like, get out of my house.
That was an epic scene.
We all that day, we all was like staying away from each other. We was all in a zone. Like we was all just there. Every day we came to set, Liesl made sure we was prepared, and she would just come in and challenge us and make us do different things. And, but I just loved that scene because it was the dynamic of the daughter, the father, as the daughter leaving the father, which was abusive relationship, to go be with this dude that was going to be a whole new abusive relationship. So Aretha is really strong because she left two toxic relationships to become who the legend and the icon that she is. I thought that scene, and I loved watching Ted unravel in the conference room when he was losing control and he started getting violent, and he had to go to Aretha to get the blessing. And she was at that point empowered, and you just watching this man act the fool, and you knew he was out of control and reaching for straws. And what's funny is that day, well, I had to play angry. A lot of things happened to me on this movie that I got to pour in to my character, and a lot of different emotions that I got to take and let out. And it happened during the movie. And I say, it's always God, right? So when something happens, it's for a reason. That day I did that scene, I just found out my old assistant stole a lot of money from me. And so I was angry. And I just took that anger and put it into the scene. And then from there, I was just like, okay, I'm absolved of it. So I don't sit in anger no more. I already put that in the universe. I put it into that scene, and I made use of that energy. And I do that a lot in my life. So.
Marlon, I cannot wait to see you in more leading roles. I think you're a phenomenal actor.
Thank you.
You were phenomenal in this movie, and thank you so much for talking with me. Have a good one.
You. Thank you.
Bye.
I'll do more.
Yes.